When General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi stood before the cameras and confidently said, "You are asking who are these big five? We can only talk about the big five of those that are already arrested and they are in court. Those that have not been arrested, unfortunately, we are not at liberty to talk about them." The country froze for a moment. That one statement set off a wave of questions, rumors, and speculation across South Africa. Who exactly are these so-called Big Five? How deep does this network go? And what does it reveal about the never-ending web of corruption and tender manipulation that keeps straining the country's economy? Mkhwanazi mentioned only two names, Vusimuzi, Matlala and Katiso Molefe, and left the rest hanging in mystery. But that mystery says more than it hides. It points to the reality of a powerful system that operates behind closed doors, one that many South Africans have been complaining about for years. To really understand the weight of what General Mkhwanazi was saying, we have to go back a bit. Corruption in South Africa didn't start yesterday. It is deeply rooted in the country's post-apartheid history, a painful story of hope that was slowly poisoned by greed. When democracy was born in 1994, South Africans believed government contracts, or tenders, would bring development, uplift poor communities, and create jobs. The tender system was supposed to open opportunities for small businesses, especially black-owned ones, to finally take part in the economy. But as years went by, it became a feeding trough for those with political connections. Instead of empowering the masses, the system empowered a few who learned how to play it, using influence and inside information to secure multi-million rand deals. By the time we reached the Zuma era, the term tenderpreneur had already become part of everyday language. It described those business people who seemed to thrive, not because of innovation or hard work, but because of who they knew in government. And KwaZulu-Natal, the very province where General Mkhwanazi now speaks as a seasoned police commissioner, has long been one of the hotbeds of this problem. Over the years, we've seen endless reports of inflated tenders, ghost projects, and officials who live like royalty while basic services collapse. Roads go unrepaired, hospitals lack medicine, and yet luxury cars and mansions keep popping up in the names of politically connected individuals. So, when Mkhwanazi talked about the Big Five, many South Africans immediately understood what he meant, even before the details came out. This wasn't just about 5 random people caught in a police dragnet. It was about a network, a system, one that had been bleeding the province and the country dry. He made it clear that only 2 could be named publicly, Vusimuzi, Matlala and Katiso Molefe, both already in court. But the other 3, whose names are known, as he put it, remain out of the public eye, likely because investigations are still unfolding. That alone tells us that law enforcement is walking on a tightrope, balancing between exposing corruption and protecting ongoing cases from being compromised. Now, who are these individuals? Matlala and Molefe are allegedly tenderpreneurs involved in contracts linked to police procurement and other state departments. According to reports, the allegations include bid rigging, inflating prices, and using shell companies to funnel money back to key officials. These are not small-time players. These are people who have moved millions through networks built over years. Their arrests mark a significant step forward, but the fact that there are still others out there shows how massive and complex the system truly is. It's like cutting the head off a snake that keeps growing back. What makes this case stand out is Mkhwanazi's openness. For years, South Africans have accused the police of protecting the powerful. But this time, the tone was different. The general sounded frustrated, almost fed up, like someone who has seen too much and decided enough is enough. His words didn't just expose suspects, they exposed a pattern of how corruption survives even when laws are in place. He hinted that these arrests were just the beginning, suggesting more could follow. That hint alone has many people wondering who the other 3 might be, and how high this case could reach. Let's be honest, South Africans have heard promises before. Every few months there's a new investigation, a new task team, a new cleanup operation. But somehow, the big fish always seem to swim away. The public has become skeptical, even numb, after years of seeing people arrested and then later walking free due to weak cases or endless delays in court. But there's something about this case that feels different. The timing, the transparency, and the involvement of top provincial figures make it look like the police might actually be serious this time. Still, it's hard to separate this scandal from the bigger picture. Corruption in the tender system is not only a KwaZulu-Natal issue, it's a national crisis. From Gauteng to the Eastern Cape, from municipalities to national departments, the pattern is the same. Well-connected individuals form companies overnight, win government tenders worth millions, and then deliver poor quality work or nothing at all. The Auditor General's reports are filled with warnings, yet the cycle continues. This has real consequences. Communities are left without proper services, unemployment rises, and trust in the government continues to crumble. Another factor worth mentioning is how this whole saga affects ordinary citizens' faith in justice. When people hear that 5 major tenderpreneurs have been arrested, it brings a small glimmer of hope. But when they also hear that 3 of them are still roaming free, it raises doubt. Are we truly cleaning up corruption, or are we just showing off arrests to calm the public? For justice to be meaningful, it must be consistent and transparent. Otherwise, these arrests will just become another headline that fades away. The irony is that while these scandals unfold, politicians keep talking about service delivery and economic growth. Yet, billions that could build infrastructure or create jobs are lost through these very tender deals. This is why Mkhwanazi's comments matter so much. They are not just about the 5 individuals. They are a reflection of how far the rot has spread and how deep it runs. It takes courage for someone in his position to speak out so bluntly. And in a country where whistleblowers are often silenced, that courage should not go unnoticed. If we zoom out a little, we can see that this case could set the tone for future investigations. If the Big Five are successfully prosecuted, it might send a signal that the days of untouchables are ending. But if they walk free due to technicalities or political interference, it will confirm what many already believe, that in South Africa, the powerful really pay the price for corruption. The stakes are high, not just for the accused, but for the credibility of law enforcement itself. Mkhwanazi has placed his reputation on the line, and now the country is watching closely to see if justice will be served. At the end of the day, this story is bigger than just names and court cases. It's about accountability, about the future of South Africa's institutions, and about whether the dream of a fair and equal society can still survive in a system that seems broken. People are tired of empty speeches. They want real change, real action, and real justice. Whether that happens will depend on whether this investigation leads to convictions or just more political noise. So, what do you think? Are these arrests the beginning of something real, or just another performance meant to make the public believe things are changing? Do you think the other 3 members of the so-called Big Five will ever be named and brought to court? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all and I want to know how you feel about this case. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy deep dives into South African politics and real-life stories of power and accountability. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown, because trust me, this story is far from over.